Of course. Here is a detailed explanation of that legal development. Summary. A federal appeals court has temporarily blocked a lower court's order that had placed significant restrictions on how immigration agents can conduct arrests in the Chicago area. This is a victory for the Biden administration, allowing Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, to resume its enforcement operations without the previously imposed limitations while the legal battle continues. Detailed breakdown. Here's a breakdown of the key elements of this story. 1. The original lawsuit and injunction. The lawsuit. The case stems from a lawsuit filed by immigrant advocacy groups. They argued that ICE agents in the Chicago area were routinely violating immigrants' Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights by engaging in practices like warrantless arrests, entering homes without a judicial warrant, deception, posing as local police officers to gain entry or cooperation, coercion, intimidating individuals into opening the doors or answering questions. The lower court's order, a federal district judge agreed with the advocates. In a significant ruling, the judge issued a preliminary injunction, a court order that took effect while the full case is being decided. This injunction barred ICE agents from arresting people without a judicial warrant, as opposed to an administrative ICE warrant, entering a home without consent or a judicial warrant, detaining people based solely on questioning about their immigration status. 2. The government's appeal and the stay. The appeal. The Biden administration's Department of Justice appealed the district court's injunction. They argued that the restrictions were overly broad, undermined federal immigration enforcement, and could pose a risk to public safety by tying the hands of ICE agents. The stay. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit granted the government's request for a stay. A stay is a legal term for a court order that pauses or suspends a previous ruling. In this case, the appeals court paused the lower court's injunction. What a stay implies. A stay is not a final decision on the merits of the case. It is a procedural tool used when the appealing party, the government, has shown 1. A strong likelihood of success on the merits of their appeal. 2. They would suffer irreparable harm if the injunction remained in place. 3. The balance of harms favors them, and the stay is in the public interest. By granting the stay, the appeals court signaled that the government's arguments have enough legal weight to justify putting the restrictions on hold while the appeal is fully briefed and argued. 3. What this means now. For ICE agents, the restrictive rules are temporarily lifted. ICE can resume its enforcement operations in Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin, the Seventh Circuit's jurisdiction, under its standard national policies, without the special constraints imposed by the district judge. For immigrant communities, the legal protections that were briefly in place are now on hold. This creates uncertainty and fear, as advocates warn that the alleged abusive practices by ICE could resume. For the legal case, the underlying lawsuit is not over. The appeals court will now proceed to hear the full appeal on whether the district court's injunction was legally sound. The stay is a temporary measure, and a final ruling from the appeals court is still to come. Key takeaways. Immediate effect. The Biden administration can enforce immigration laws in the Chicago area without the court-ordered restrictions. Temporary victory for the government. This is a procedural win for the Department of Justice, but the core legal fight continues. High-stakes legal battle. The case touches on fundamental questions about the limits of federal immigration enforcement power and the constitutional rights of individuals. What's next? All parties will now submit legal briefs, and the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals will schedule oral arguments before making a final decision on whether to uphold or overturn the lower court's injunction. The losing side may eventually appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court.